Fictional bands occasionally manage to capture our attention for a fleeting moment. A cartoon animal might score a viral hit, or a movie soundtrack will produce a catchy novelty single. But the success is almost always temporary. The actual pop charts belong to living, breathing artists. But in the summer of 2025, that rule broke. A track titled Golden crossed the boundary into mainstream live-action culture, to the point where Bad Bunny performed an entire sketch around his love for the song during the season premiere of Saturday Night Live. This chart shows how Golden stacked up against real music. The track dominated the top of the Billboard Hot 100 for 8 weeks straight, surpassing the chart runs of every actual hit from major artists that summer. And yet, the artists credited with the song, a 3-member girl group called HUNTR, do not exist. They are entirely fictional, created for a Netflix animated movie called KPop Demon Hunters.
Usually, a song from an animated movie stays within its own category. Golden entered the wider industry, taking home a Golden Globe, an Oscar for Best Original Song, and a Grammy Award for Best Song Written for Visual Media. The success of Golden is the result of a meticulous collision between two highly specific musical worlds, engineered to beat the real music industry at its own game. The first component of this track's DNA originates far away from pop radio, pulling its structure directly from the American Broadway tradition. The directors brought in theater veterans to serve as the structural architects. They tapped Mark Sonnenblick and Ian Eisendrath, writers and producers who spent their careers working on major stage musicals. In musical theater, there is a specific device called an I Want song. It's a functional tool placed early in a story, designed specifically to expose a character's deepest motivation and drive the narrative forward. Sonnenblick and Eisendrath used this framework for Golden. It functions as the vehicle for the character Rumi to express her hidden pain. Specifically, the secret that she is half demon, and her desire to stop hiding who she really is. While the Broadway framework provides essential emotional weight, theatrical structure alone rarely results in an 8-week global pop sensation. To package that theatrical narrative into a hit, the filmmakers tapped into a completely different machine, the South Korean idol industry. They recruited a producer known as Teddy from the Black label. He is the real-world hitmaker who built the discography for groups like Blackpink, and his involvement immediately legitimized the track. This diagram isolates the song's K-pop architecture. Triplet-based dance drops drive high-energy choreography. Woven over the beat is a deliberate language ratio, key Korean phrases in the hook, but 90% English. Finally, parasocial fandom hooks make listeners active participants in the story. The data reveals how effective this was. In late June, over a single 3-day period, US streams for the song grew by 272%. That digital surge translated into physical mobilization. Fans launched TikTok dance challenges and organized coordinated campaigns to push the song up the Billboard charts, exactly as they would for a real idol group. The Black label successfully provided the addictive packaging, but even the best studio illusion requires a bridge of authentic human desperation to connect with an audience. The human element that bridges the Broadway narrative and the K-pop veneer is a Korean-American songwriter and vocalist named EJAE. Before she was hired as the singing voice for the character Rumi, EJAE spent 12 years as a trainee at SM Entertainment. She lived inside the actual idol system, facing over a decade of failure and rejection. The severe vocal strain, desperate belting, and climactic A5 high note are the authentic physical release of a 34-year-old woman finally capturing a dream. The raw, lived pain of real-world industry rejection is the critical ingredient that transformed a meticulously engineered studio hybrid into an authentic, emotional experience. After the song's success, its Grammy and Oscar wins were widely celebrated by the mainstream press as a validation of K-pop's expansion into the highest levels of Western industry. However, some critics argued that an English-heavy track, spearheaded by American theater nerds and Korean-Canadian directors, cannot accurately be labeled K-pop. These critiques reframe the soundtrack as a masterpiece of diaspora storytelling. It is art created by individuals navigating life between two cultures, rather than a standard product of the K-pop industry. Golden proves that resonant cultural phenomenons don't require the existence of a real band. They only require the authentic, lived experiences of the real humans behind the microphone.